Hey guys, sorry for the half slate in last video. Let's dive deep in remaining games. There's something special about nights like this across the NBA landscape. It's one of those slates where momentum, injuries, scheduling spots, and team identity all come crashing together at the same time, creating a slate filled with traps, mismatches, and opportunities. And as always, we're diving into it with precision, focus, and the goal of helping you understand not just who to bet but why the matchup plays out the way it does. So let's get right into it, starting with a game that immediately jumps off the board. We've got the Sacramento Kings walking into Houston to take on the Rockets, and honestly, the more you look at this matchup, the more lopsided it becomes. It's crazy to think this is actually the first time these two teams have seen each other this season, because stylistically and situationally, it feels like Houston has been waiting for Sacramento to show up just to expose all the issues the Kings haven't been able to fix. And listen, on paper, the Kings roster can absolutely fool you if you're not keeping up with how they've actually performed. Seeing names like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, and even Russell Westbrook might make someone think this is a competitive, high-level team. But if you're watching the games and checking the numbers, you know the truth. Sacramento has been one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA. 5 total wins on the season, only 2 wins on the road. That alone should raise every red flag possible. And when you combine that with their inability to cover spreads, it becomes impossible to trust them in almost any spot. This team doesn't travel well, they don't defend, they don't execute in late-game situations, and they collapse under physical play. Meanwhile, they're walking straight into a Houston team that has settled in as one of the most consistently profitable teams in the league, sitting at 12-6 against the spread, 13-5 straight up, and 5-2 at home. That alone makes Houston dangerous, but when you consider how complete this roster has become after adding Kevin Durant, it becomes very clear how big the gap is between these two clubs. Houston has won 8 of their last 10, and it's not fluky. They play connected basketball defensively, they rebound well, they don't waste possessions, and Durant has given them the late-game scoring presence they were missing. So I'm not overthinking this at all. If you want to make money this year, continuing to fade the Sacramento Kings has been one of the easiest trends in the NBA. I don't make the rules, the teams do. And Sacramento has made it pretty clear what they are right now. They're also walking into this game without Sabonis, and Dennis Schroeder is officially questionable. Whether Schroeder plays or not doesn't change my angle. Even healthy, I'm not backing this version of the Kings. So the play for me is Houston. Strongly. Drop a like, drop a comment on who you're rolling with, and we move to the next matchup. Now we shift over to Madison Square Garden where the Charlotte Hornets are taking on the New York Knicks. And I'll be honest with you, this is not a spot where I typically love backing the Knicks. Scheduling-wise, it's actually a rough one for them. They just played what might end up being the marquee matchup of the entire midweek slate, Knicks vs Celtics in Boston, a game that's not only physical but emotional. That type of game drains a team. I'm recording this before that result, so I don't know how that played out, but regardless of how that Boston game went, it's guaranteed the Knicks had to exert a ton of energy just to stay competitive. Then you toss in the fact that they had to immediately travel back to New York to face the Hornets. It's a classic let-down spot. It really is. But with that said, and this is where the analysis flips, fading the Knicks at MSG has been a losing proposition this year. They're simply a different team in that building. 3-5 straight up on the road. Not great. But at home, 10-1 straight up. They're confident, they defend with intensity, and they feed off the crowd energy. On top of that, they've won 4 straight and covered 4 straight. So even though this is a difficult scheduling situation, there's no way I'm stepping in front of the Knicks at home. Meanwhile, Charlotte continues to be one of the worst road teams in the NBA. 1-9 on the road. And honestly, you don't even need to look up who that lone road win was against, because you already know it's someone bad. They just got blown out by the Nets, and it's clear this roster hasn't been able to find any rhythm or stability away from their own arena. So while I don't love the spot for New York, I still love the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. That's just a death sentence to fade. The play is the Knicks. Lay the points. Smash that like button and drop who you're taking in the comments. Now we head to Orlando, where the Spurs are coming in on the second leg of a back-to-back to face the Magic. And the storyline surrounding Orlando this season has been one of steady improvement. After a shaky start, they've finally hit their stride. 8 wins in their last 10, 7 covers in their last 10, and their style of play has tightened up dramatically. And as a Magic fan, I can admit something that isn't fun to acknowledge. Ever since Paolo Banchero went out with that groin injury on November 12, this team has looked better. It's the truth. They've moved the ball more, the offense flows better, and the shot selection has improved. Paolo is immensely talented, but early in the season, he was dribbling too much, settling for contested shots, and stopping the ball. These last stretch of games has shown what happens when the ball moves and the team runs through its system instead of forcing things through one player. Hopefully Paolo is watching from the bench and learning from it, because this team can be even more dangerous if he adjusts his game accordingly. Meanwhile, Desmond Bane has been on an absolute tear, dropping 30 in back-to-back outings. And the Magic have a strong matchup here. Wemby remains out, and although the timeline suggests he may return between next week and Christmas Day, he's not expected to play in this one. The Spurs are playing on the second night of a back-to-back after a game against the Grizzlies, and regardless of how that one ended, the travel into Orlando and the matchup with a disciplined Magic team is not an ideal situation for San Antonio. Orlando is 8-3 at home and extremely comfortable in their building. So I'm rolling with the Magic, laying the points again. Appreciate you guys watching, comment who you're taking, and let's move on. Now let's move into this matchup between the Pacers and the Nuggets. Indiana enters at 4-17, but still a respectable 11-10 ATS, coming off a 135-119 loss to Cleveland. Denver, meanwhile, is coming off a shocking 131-121 home loss to Dallas as double-digit favorites. And this is where the storyline gets wild. Denver has now lost 4 straight games at home. 4 straight home losses. And for a team that has turned Ball Arena into one of the toughest buildings to win in across an entire era of basketball, this is uncharted territory. Typically, Denver dominates at home. We've talked about that for years. Altitude advantage, crowd advantage, shooting confidence, everything. But now, somehow, they're playing better on the road this season. They've won back-to-back road games by double digits against Phoenix and Memphis, teams that they completely outclassed. And honestly, Indiana is in the same category here. Denver's offense has also been rolling, putting up 125 or more in 4 of their last 6 road outings. Meanwhile, Indiana's offense has started showing life as well, scoring 117 or more in 3 of their last 5 and 4 of their last 7. So while I'm not ready to jump back on the Pacers after getting burned against Cleveland, I still think they score enough here. The last meeting between these two in Denver finished at only 217 points, but historically, this matchup trends toward the over. Denver has hit the over at about a 65% clip this year, and even if Denver carries most of the offensive load, Indiana can score enough to get us there. My play, the over. Drop who you like in the comments. Finally, let's wrap with the Hawks taking on the Clippers. Atlanta enters at 13-9, 12-10 ATS, after a 1-point loss to Detroit. The Clippers, they're a mess. They're coming off a 140-123 loss to Miami and have now lost 5 straight and 8 of their last 9. They can't catch a break. Even the games they've kept close at home are still losses as favorites. They lost to Dallas as 9-point favorites, and Memphis as 6 and 12-point favorites. And on the road, they've been getting blown out, losing their last 3 road games by 17, 17, and 15 against good teams like Miami, LA, and Cleveland. Atlanta, meanwhile, has been one of the better road teams all season, 9-5 away from home. Even without Trae Young, they've managed to stay competitive and win games, including a strong NBA Cup win over Cleveland. And the reality is the Clippers are a disaster right now. Kawhi scored 36 in the last outing and it still didn't matter. The supporting cast isn't good enough, the roster construction isn't working, and the Bradley Beal experiment hasn't helped. It didn't work in Phoenix, and it's not working in LA. This team has no direction right now. So I'm taking Atlanta. The Hawks are the better team, they're in better form, and the Clippers haven't shown anything that makes me believe they're worth backing. Give me the Hawks. Drop who you like below. And that wraps up another breakdown here on Beyond the Box Score. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more accurate, data-driven predictions every single day, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss a breakdown. This is Beyond the Box Score, where the numbers meet the narrative and the game makes sense. See you in the next one.